When your Discord server hits 50 members, manual moderation breaks down. You simply cannot read every message, grade every new user, and filter spam yourself. This forces a structural choice. Throw the wrong bots at the problem, and your server becomes an unreadable wall of automated noise. Curate the right bots, and the community manages itself. Building that ideal setup does not mean hoarding every popular application you can find. It requires matching specific automated capabilities to the exact size and maturity of your user base. This diagram breaks down the 3 mandatory pillars you have to balance: moderation to protect the space, engagement to keep people coming back, and utility analytics to measure what is actually working. Scale the automation too far, and the server feels like a robot wasteland. Strike the right balance, and your community grows efficiently while keeping its core culture intact. Every server starts with the first pillar, moderation. This is your baseline defense against bad actors. Looking at this scorecard, all-in-one tools like Sapphire and Probot handle the heavy lifting. They instantly trigger welcome messages, delete forbidden words, and automatically lock down the server during a spam raid. But convenience comes with a security cost. To execute all those actions, these bots require total administrator permissions. If their central server is ever compromised, whoever takes control instantly owns your community. The alternative is a specialized stack. You deploy Dino strictly to log deleted messages and track user history, and you install Carlbot entirely separate just to manage reaction roles. By dividing the workload, you limit the damage if one bot goes offline or gets hijacked. The trade-off is your own time. You now have to configure, update, and monitor multiple different web dashboards instead of a single interface. Automated moderation gives you your evenings back. You just have to decide if that time is worth the inherent risk of a single point of failure. Once the server is secure, you need a mechanism to drive daily activity. That brings us to the second pillar, engagement, which relies heavily on gamification. Bots like Tatsu, Poke2, and Mudai build virtual economies. Users earn digital currency for chatting, to feed virtual pets, upgrade their profile levels, or collect digital cards. The downside is the resulting visual noise. If 50 people are rolling virtual dice and battling Pokemon in your general chat, actual conversation gets buried. To prevent this, you have to build structural firewalls. This means creating dedicated, muted channels specifically labeled for bot commands. By forcing all the automated games into an isolated corner, your main chat channels remain protected and open strictly for human-to-human interaction. These leveling systems give passive users a low-stakes reason to participate. But they are a supplement to a good community, never a replacement for actual shared interests. The final pillar is utility and growth tracking. This is the exact dividing line between a casual group chat and a professional, scalable hub. Without data, you are flying blind. You cannot see why user activity dropped over the weekend or late at night, and you have no objective way to measure how fast your moderators are resolving member disputes. This chart illustrates what advanced analytics bots like Community1 or StatsBot provide. They track the exact correlation between moderator response times and daily activity. But simply collecting data accomplishes nothing. You have to enforce a workflow where your team actively reviews these reports and adjusts the server strategy accordingly. Utility tracking removes the guesswork. It allows you to run your server based on hard behavioral data rather than gut instinct. Before you add any of these tools to your active server, you have to mitigate the operational risk. Pushing untested code to a live community often leads to broken channels or accidental bans. Every new bot must be invited to a completely private test server first. Inside this sandbox, you trigger every command to verify behavior, auditing default permissions and disabling dangerous access rights, like channel deletion, before it touches your real community. Running every feature through a quarantine phase definitely slows down your rollout schedule. Taking that extra 10 minutes guarantees a misconfigured bot will not accidentally wipe your member list while you are offline. This decision tree maps out the optimal setup based on your specific maturity stage. Your architecture should follow one of these 3 distinct paths. For a new project, you take path A, the starter stack. You install Sapphire to handle basic auto moderation and Ticket Tool to manage private user questions. You skip engagement bots entirely to focus on building a core group of early adopters. If you run a gaming or social group, you move to path B. Here, Probot manages the growing chat volume, while Tatsu or Karuta provide the daily login incentives needed to keep a highly active user base entertained. For enterprise brands and massive networks, you follow Path C. You abandon gamification and deploy Carlbot for precise role management, Mava for professional ticketing, and Community One for deep sentiment analytics. Code cannot manufacture a community for you. A leveling system won't fix a toxic chat room, and analytics won't generate interesting conversations. They only amplify the culture you already provide. If you ruthlessly restrict API permissions, consistently review your behavioral data, and protect your main channels for actual human connection, your server will scale efficiently.